So gonna go through a trader recap today. I had yes, obviously, the micro is obviously we see it didn't go my way. So we're gonna go through all the confluences. So starting on the hourly time frame, first thing I noticed coming in was we had some pretty strong draws of liquidity, being London session highs, previous day highs, and then I guess previous day London session highs. But I didn't think these were gonna get reached up here. These highs being right here, but we did end up reaching those. So we ended up sweeping. These were the main two I was obviously looking for, and then we also had this high time frame bearish order block as well over here, and then we also had another one following it. So some pretty high time frame confluences that I really like to see, especially with this being the liquidity sweep, and also bias not being quite bullish. I understand that on the high time frame it is, but we did just take out these draws of liquidity. Now obviously if these were flipped, like if this was New York session high or this was New York session high, I probably would have been a little bit more bullish. But since we already took these out, I don't really care about internal highs from Asia session or London session. So moving down in the 1 minute time frame, which is basically where most of this trade came from, we had this fairly large fair value gap that formed, and I figured if we were going to inverse this, we were going to go lower. So we ended up inversing this fair value gap, and a little bit below after this candle is when I entered short, just targeting this imbalance here. I believe this was a 5 minute fair value gap, so pretty much right at the bottom of this. Oh, I hate this magnet sometimes. Pretty much targeting right at the bottom of this imbalance right here. And obviously, you see, that was not the case. That did not end up happening. Bias was bearish. Few reasons. One, because that also, we did have a decent amount of bullish imbalance that I figured wanted to get filled in. Wasn't targeting, London session lows or Asia session lows. Was just targeting internal here. So this 5 minute fair value gap that we had pretty much right after market open. But obviously, we see the price just decided to go the opposite way and continue to be bullish. So, kind of sucked. Was a little bit of it was a good setup. I would have to say this is a pretty good setup. If I go through a lot of my old trades that I've had, this is a very common setup of these high time frames getting swept, 1 minute inverse for value gap, 1 minute market structure shift, etc. All those good things. A lot of times, this is a decent reversal setup. Obviously, I'm not bottom or top ticking in. I'm not, I see this one candle form. I'm going to the floor, right? I'm waiting for more confluences to build. But it wasn't a terrible trade. I'm okay with this loss. Loss like this are going to happen, right? It was a decent amount of confluences. Obviously, NASDAQ was following the same pattern here of taking this out and then beginning to move down inverse this for value gap over here as well on the 1 minute, but ended up not hitting. So it is what it is, and I'm getting stopped out. I lost $298 on my eval account, so nothing terrible. It's not like I blew the account or anything, but was definitely not. It was risking a little bit more than I usually do. I think I did 5 contracts, 5 the micro, obviously not 5 minis, but 5 micros, risk 300. But it is what it is, right? So, I felt confident in this trade. That's a big thing, and I'm not revenge trading. I'm not getting right back on the charts and going long after I get stopped out or something. No, it's you bite the bullet and you move on. So it is what it is. Journaled it already. Making a YouTube video, made a TikTok video on it. So. It sucks. Nobody wants to lose. Nobody wants to, but it's all part of the game, right? Everyone's gonna lose. Everyone's gonna get fucked like this. But it's how you bounce back that I think is the big deal and the big change. So, and that's what's gonna set me apart from other people. So, it is what it is. Tough trade. You're gonna get stopped out. You're gonna get fucked. That's just trading, right? No one's gonna win 100% of the time. You're not gonna win. You're probably not going to win 80% of the time, right? But it's how you handle those losses. It's how you manage your risk. It's how you enter those trades. So it is what it is.